Hey everyone, Lawrence here. So, Phase 3 development notes have been posted. There are some class changes involved in that. Now, I've done videos on Demon Hunter and Druid in the past. Go check out those or in that playlist that I'll link up there if Editor Me is smart. Um, Now, one of the things that didn't have in those original videos was that Vengeance didn't have its Apex talent involved. I don't think Havoc did either. Devour obviously did, but in this phase, they're implementing the Vengeance Apex talent, and Guardian Druid also got its Apex talent involved. So we're going to take a look at those as well as the other changes for both Demon Hunter and Druid, because they're both pretty short. I've already looked at Warrior Apex talent trees. Again, that will go up there. Post recording me is smart. So today I just want to look at both of these in just a short, little bit of a short, quick-ish video. So let's dive into it. So for Demon Hunter, their Vengeance Apex talent is called Untethered Rage. Soul Cleave and Spirit Bomb have a chance per soul fragment consumed to grant Untethered Rage, allowing Metamorphosis to be cast without incurring its cooldown and lasting 10 seconds. So on initial things, like I've been on the record before, so I really don't like the way the Vengeance Demon Hunter plays. I've been messing with it a little bit for like meme fun on the current season. Just tanking some 10s with it and just kind of playing it. And there are aspects to it that I really, really like. And the initial class changes to Vengeance Demon Hunter, I think, have me curious to play it. Now, one thing I don't always enjoy is the fact that Soul Cleave and Spirit Bomb kind of, to me, serve the same purpose. They're a Fury spender that also pulls your souls into your character and heals them. So I think that, like, obviously one can pull in like a bunch, and I think Soul Cleave only pulls in 2 at a time. So it kind of depends on the style of healing that you want, but I don't, and Soul Cleave only does like a cone in front of you, whereas Spirit Bomb is like to all enemies around you. So like there's some things that probably need to be cleaned up there in my opinion. But anytime as a Vengeance Demon Hunter that you're sitting in your meta, whether it's after Fell Devastation, especially now that they're losing Demonic, where you stay in your meta form for like I think it's 8 seconds after you did a Fell Dev. Getting another way to jump into Metamorphosis without burning the cooldown of it, I think is really cool and really interesting. I'm curious as to how they're going to visually display this. Like right now, I don't think Havoc has, or Demon Hunter in general has anything on like the notifications around your character, so maybe they could use that, where it's like, hey, this procs pops up above your character is like that visual cue to say, hey, you can cast Metamorphosis. Or of course you light up the button and glow it. It's always normal. But I think it's a big boon to both defensive and offensive capabilities of VDH. Alright, 2-point talent here. Soul Cleave and Spirit Bomb can consume an additional soul fragment each and deal 10% for each 10% extra damage for each consumed. So I think this makes Spirit Bomb consume up to 5 souls, and Soul Cleave consume up to 3. So that's a really big boon to your healing, although that can be a little bit trolly, I think, because if you don't need 3 souls worth of healing, you're just overhealing on that. But as a tank, like, you'd rather have a ton of overhealing than not, because that means you're alive. So I don't think it's a huge deal, but if you're like a weird mid-max, I want to maximize every point of healing I can on myself, then this is a concern for you. And then finally, each cast of Soul Cleave and Spirit Bomb that does not grant Untethered Rage instead applies a stack of Seething Anger. Seething Anger grants 1% agility and increases your chance to gain Untethered Rage. It lasts 12 seconds and cannot be refreshed. So basically, you're always going to be building towards being able to get this Untethered Rage going. But gaining that little bit of additional agility is going to make those in-between periods where you don't get that chance. So it tells me that the chance on this is not going to be super high, but you're going to gain benefit in between that chance to get those Metamorphosis ticks. So like, for example, on the Arms Warrior one, it's, overpowers a chance for your slam to become Heroic Strike. Depending on the proc rate of that, that's either going to be really good or really bad. It's going to swing pretty wildly. But if on the chance that you don't get your Heroic Strike, then you don't get anything. You just deal the damage and you move on. Here, they're taking a slightly different approach where, yes, you're dealing damage, you're getting some healing, but you're not getting this opportunity to get this big defensive / offensive cooldown, like your big CD essentially. But you're now able to, in between that, gain a little bit of agility, which does help things like your attack power. It helps your dodge chance, and things of that nature. So there's like a benefit to not getting your proc, which I think is actually a really good way to approach it. And 1% agility like is a decent amount. I don't think that's completely overpowered. And the fact that you can only have this buff up every 12 seconds like is good. So I think we're good there. And then one small talent change, Vengeful Beast now also affects Fracture. It didn't before. And increased listed ability damage by 20% instead of 30%. So they added Fracture, but toned down the numbers as a result. I think that's a good thing overall. So my thoughts on the Vengeance one, I think it's actually a pretty good one. As someone that's not like a huge Vengeance aficionado, like I know of the Demon Hunter class. I know Havoc, obviously, because I play a lot of Havoc right now. But I don't know a ton as much about Vengeance. I'll run this by my buddy who does play a lot of Vengeance or has played a lot of Vengeance. See what he thinks. But I think this is a pretty good one. Again, if you're a tank, you want a ton of overhealing because like that means you're living. So I think the additional healing that you're getting out of this, the additional agility that you get when you don't get your proc, and then your proc itself is big. Very, very good. So yeah, I'm very curious to see what they're doing with that. I'd like to see, I don't remember if Havoc's is implemented or not, but I want to see potentially more tweaks with Havoc because there are some things with Havoc that I think need to be cleaned up still, particularly when it comes to Felskar maybe doing a little bit more, but that's just my opinion. I don't have anything to back that up. All right, Druid. Let's move on to Druid. Now, we're not going to cover Restoration because, as I've said before, I don't know enough about the Intellect Druid specs to provide a valid or educated or even somewhat educated opinion on. I mostly play the Agility specs, so go here. Now, Wildstalker does affect Feral Druid, and they implemented their other talent row. So we're getting Green Thumb, which gives you a higher rate of your Bloodseeker Vines. So it gives you a 20% chance to have those Bloodseeker Vines be attached and do the stuff that Bloodseeker Vines does. Rampancy, Bloodseeker Vines have a 20% chance to trigger Bursting Growth every 2 seconds at 100% effectiveness, which means that Bursting Growth obviously had to change positions in the tree. Patient Custodian, your bleeds and other damage over time, effects are 6% more effective, and then Bursting Growth has changed position. So I've been very much on the record that I want Feral Druid to be more bleed based again. To where talents like extending the duration of your bleeds, I think is something that for like a high uptime fight, you're in and out a lot. I think it'd be really, really nice to have that niche. Wildstalker leans into that a lot more. Right now it's not that great because tier set bonus isn't that great, and I don't foresee a ton of other class changes coming to buff the tier set. So here we are. So you get higher vine application. Bursting Growth is gonna proc a lot more, which is good. More damage basically on your bleeds and other damage over time effects, so things like Moonfire for Cat Druid, which I don't see anyone ever taking Lunar Inspiration. Like that's a talent that just needs to go. So it should just be your bleeds. Bleed effects are 6% more effective. So it's a good opportunity there for Wildstalker. I love Wildstalker Feral Druid personally. I wish there was a better way to apply it in AoE, a little bit more of a guaranteed way to apply it in AoE. But it is a good build, one that I really enjoy. So the fact that it's getting some love is good for me, and the way I personally do it. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, there's a lot of other things that are going on with Feral Druid, where they're removing a lot of the complexity of Feral Druid that I think is actually okay. I'm a big fan of it, honestly. I haven't played Feral Druid, obviously, because I've not seen it, but I've not been really watching a lot of Feral Druid creators that do have alpha access. So this is a spec that I'm very curious to try once I can get into the beta testing cycle. because right now I'm either playing Feral and Bear, or I'm playing Demon Hunter, or I'm playing Warrior. I've kind of set myself to those 3 classes. So speaking of Bear, they've implemented their Apex talent called Wild Guardian. After Berserk or Incarn ends, you will gain access to Wild Guardian. Wild Guardian spirits of the wild come to your aid, causing your next 2 casts of Iron Fur, Maul, or Frenzy Regeneration to be echoed at 50% effectiveness. Probably, unless you're in like danger, you're gonna use it on Maul almost all the time, which is fine. One thing I would like to see is Rays included in this, but I'm assuming it's just an oversight because Rays now replaces Maul when you talent. Your 2-point talent is just a straight up mastery boost, and then Wild Guardian echoes your abilities are now cast at even higher effectiveness. Yeah, which definitely makes Maul the #1 choice that you're going to use for this. Mastery boost is interesting because you gain health for Guardian Druid, and then you gain attack power. Like, that's the thing for all tanks. You gain AP, and then you also gain whatever bonus you gain for Feral Druids is basically a deeper stamina pool, and then tying it to Incarn, which gives you a 30% stamina boost. Like, your HP pool is going to be pretty high for Guardian Druid, generally speaking, because you don't hate Mastery right now. You don't go out of you're not stacking it like a Shadow Priest does. But if you get like a Haste Mastery piece or a Haste Verse piece over like a Haste Verse piece, you're not upset. So, very cool. And then the last point, Wild Guardian's echoes of your abilities are empowered with additional effects. So you gain an absorb on Iron Fur. Okay, that makes that much more appealing. It depends on how much the absorb is. Obviously, if it's a small amount, it's kind of eh. If it's a big amount, cool. Frenzy Regeneration granting Dream of Scenaria, so you get the opportunity to get the free regrowth on you that's essentially a lay on hand. So that could actually be good if you need to save a team member. Now, that gives you some flexibility to be more like utility with it. Then Maul deals nature damage over 12 seconds. I still think Maul is what you end up using it on, or Raise if you have it talented. Even with the Wild Guardian last talent point. But I think this is a really good one. Like, I've noticed with the 3 tanks that I focus on, Bear and Prout Warrior being the biggest ones, but I also focus a lot on, I've been playing a little bit more and paying attention more to Vengeance. Let me see, is Paladin in here? No, they don't have procs in here. I haven't looked over the Paladin changes yet, so. But I've noticed they're doing a lot to implement a lot of damage into their Apex talents, which kind of makes them required to take, which makes sense. They're the new feature. I think they want to tune them so that you take them. But I kind of like this idea of the tanks all getting like some like offensive benefit out of it. Prout Warrior has almost no defensive benefit out of it, but its baseline defense is so good, I don't think it needs it. But like Vengeance, as we discussed earlier, is getting like this agility boost that helps your defensive. You get Metamorphosis, which helps your defensiveness, but more importantly, you gain big damage when you meta. You gain more damage on your Spirit Bomb and Soul Cleave. You gain more damage through the increased agility when you don't proc your free meta. And with Guardian, now obviously you're getting 150% extra damage on your Maul echoed, and you're going to do a nature dot over 12 seconds. Like, that is ridiculously good for damage purposes, at least, depending on the tuning. But from just looking at it in the vacuum of paper, like, this is really, really good Apex talent. I'm quite happy with this as a avid Guardian lover. Right, Lunar Beam now applies a damage over time effect to its primary target, and its area effect damage is capped at 5 targets. That's kind of rough, but probably okay. One thing that they're trying to do, particularly with Elun's Chosen, is pull back on the fact that you would get this insane damage through only casting basically Maul and Thrash, or Mangle and Thrash, and then you Iron for all the time and get your Thorns of Iron out all the time. Thorns of Iron is removed, so now like there's incentive now to cast Maul again, even in the Elun's Chosen build, which is good. And your Lunar Beam is now like a little less effective. It's still going to do wonders at probably keeping you alive, but its damage is now a lot less when it's capped at 5 targets like this. So I hate target capping, especially that low. Now the dot effect on it is going to be good for your primary target. Like I think I like that aspect of it. But capping it at 5, I think, is bad. You probably, at minimum, should be capping tank abilities at 8 targets. Minimum 8 targets. With some uncapped stuff, like Swipe and Thrash, I think are uncapped for Bear, for example. So, happy about the damage over time effect. Not happy at the 5 target cap on this. I think 5 targets for any tank is too steep of a cost. And probably pushes you towards Druid of the Claw a little bit more. Particularly because you're getting, if this Maul also works for Ravage, oh boy, you're gonna see some big ass Ravage numbers, which will be nice. So we'll see. We have to test it. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it than we can see. So let me know what you think. If you're a Vengeance Demon Hunter player or a Agility Druid player, let me know what you think down below. Remember to like, share, subscribe to the video if you want to see more of this content. I'm on the road to 1,100 subscribers. 8,000 total watch hours, which are things that are analytics based, but just increases the amount of monetization that I can gain off of these. I don't really gain a ton because I have to meet a certain threshold of views. So pass this video along, share it with any Druid players, any Demon Hunter players that you know. Encourage your friends to take a look at it, throw it on in the background, and just let it play if nothing else, just to help with that view count so that I can, get the word out a little bit more about the things that I think about these classes. Till the next video, hope you all stay safe, hope you enjoy yourself, you're having fun, you keep on gaming. See you next time.